Yo, I stayed up till 3 a.m. to watch the new Paranormal Activity movie. 3 a.m. It went live, Paramount Plus, 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah. Was it good?
I don't know. It's fucking 3 a.m., man. Nothing's good at 3 a.m. It's like, I don't want to go to bed. I want to go back to sleep.
3 a.m. is the prime. Are we live?
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
well, what's up, everybody? It's nice to meta you.
Oh, God. Yeah, good movie though. Good movie. It was
good movie. Yeah.
It didn't feel much like a Paranormal Activity movie outside of like a few callbacks from older movies. But this is what happens when you give people money to make a movie. I feel like they need to strip away the budget for the next one, and it'll be scarier. But what are you gonna do? Halloween's almost here, man. 2 more days. Gotta watch all the shit we can fucking cram into our eyes.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll watch it all year long.
Nice. All right, man. Let's do this thing. Start the show. This is PSVR GamesCast Live, where we film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern. We bring it to you live right here, live on YouTube. If you're watching it now, you may or may not be watching it live. Who can tell, man? Who can tell? My name is Brian Paul from this channel right here, PSVR Without Parole. And this guy to my right, my partner in crime, AJ from The Underground, PSVR Underground.
No, if they're watching it later, then they're not watching it live, Brian.
But how can we tell? We're saying the same words to them as we're saying to these people.
You're speaking to Mark Pringles Leaf, Bob Zarkoff, the Underground Gamecat, Jazzy J, the Tarot Mage.
Cue the cat!
Chat right now. But not to those lovely people that are listening later, by the way. Thank you.
Either here or on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, all sorts of other
Apple
places you can watch
Podcasts.
this. Yeah.
Is Apple Music? Is that now on PlayStation 5?
Right. So
I hear?
now you can listen to this on your PlayStation 5. But why the fuck would you do that?
Yes.
Just saying.
I mean, you could play some games. Anyways, what is up, Brian? What is up, Game Cats? Happy final Gamescast of October before Halloween. Hope you guys have some spooky games lined up to play. Happy Friday, though,
Bro,
man.
I hope all the
Ready
cats
to
in
go
the
into
chat
the
get dressed
weekend.
up. Hopefully everybody out
yeah.
there is wearing a costume, because all I did was wear my new Silent Hill hoodie. So I'm like, yeah. Fucking cool.
I was really hoping to get a costume for this show, but life gets busy sometimes, Brian.
And sometimes I get busy. No, wrong day.
Bambino
That's hump day.
Ramos.
Shit.
Bambino Ramos says, listening while driving. LOL, love you guys. Keep your eyes on the road, Bambino.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course,
Right,
if there's any sirens on my end, I will be certain to let you know.
But I love you too.
Guys, a little bit of housekeeping before we get the show started. Want to make sure that you all know to join Discord. Click the link in the description below. That's where all sorts of crazy stuff happens. Conversations like this 24/7. Lots of great debates happening over there in general recently. And just a good time also doing all of our giveaways there now, because it makes life so much easier. Still got a couple more days to get into the top physical giveaways. Make sure you head over there and leave your name and region there. And also, of course, the Affected the Manor giveaway. We're giving away 10 keys for that game the night before Halloween, which is, hey, tomorrow. So you still have like 24 hours to get your name in for that. And so, besides Discord, obviously, make sure you head on over to patreon.com/withoutparolegames, where you can help support the channel and keep this thing running. And so that new job that I got, maybe I'll be able to quit soon. So, of course, we also want to hire AJ. And if you don't already subscribe to AJ, guys, I know we always say this at the end of the show, but let's put it at the beginning of the show. If you don't subscribe to him, man, go subscribe to AJ at PSVR Underground.
Thank you, man.
It's like he and I are the last two people holding this platform up.
Again, last of the PSVR Eakins, proudly,
Doesn't sound right.
because good things are coming our way, Brian.
Hell yeah.
And I can't wait. We're going to talk about some potential things that are coming our way that would be very interesting. I think would be a huge game changer, and certainly something that I have heard the community be vocal about wanting to happen.
Yeah, we've got tons of stuff to talk about, and but a heads up, guys.
And that is the release of Suicide Guy, Brian.
Of course it is. I mean, I can't wait to talk about Suicide Guy. Guys, I'm dropping a link in the chat real quick here. This is one of our Gamecats, CerealKiller, is taking up the lead on this. He wanted to make sure that we would participate as a group, as the Gamecats, in Movember, which, of course, sheds light on or gives awareness to men's health issues, prostate cancer, that kind of thing. And so feel free to head over there and help the cause. And if you have any questions about this or this specific charity, this fundraiser, talk to CerealKiller over on Discord.
Hell yeah, man! Congrats on your procedure, CerealKiller. Good to have you back, homie. Glad it went well. Yes, PPO, the Kojima, the Silent Hill Gamecat. Yes, we mean the Guy VR. They changed the name to the Guy VR.
That's going to get hard to get used to because the Guy is just a terrible name.
I mean, I didn't like the original name to begin with, but this one is somehow almost worse.
As you know what day today is? It's Friday.
Oh, yeah.
And that means, other than all the people we already thanked, we have a whole other set of people to thank, don't we, AJ?
We would like to thank those who support us in another way by changing their name to something GameCat related, or something GameCat adjacent, as you and something GameCat adjacent like to say. That is our community, the GameCats. There's a long history of why it was called that, but I think it had something to do with like mispronouncing GAMESCAST.
That's right.
And then it became a thing. And then now it's become this huge, best of the best PSVR community that you could ever be a part of, that I have the privilege of being a part of. And best people I've ever met in my life. I love you guys. Starting with Uncertainty, Principled, Pavlov, Ignoring, Science Cat.
3 new cats enter the Gamecat Dojo. Okay, there's the animation. All right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Man, you threw me off, man. Threw me off.
I know. I just wanted to give a heartfelt little message that I appreciate y'all. And
Uncertainty, Principled, Pavlov, Ignoring, Science Cat. Way to go, Josh. You really mucked that one up.
Yeah, that is. Okay, so it is Josh. So I was wondering because the Science Cat is what gave it away.
Yeah.
See, I know so much about you guys.
Sure.
We also have Darthy, the Balkan Cat. We get a lot of Darth Vaders in this community. I love it. We have a lot of Darths and a lot of Ashes. We got 2 Funkies.
But how many Balkans do we have? I think
he's the first Balkan Cat. Yeah.
So if you're also from, I'm assuming this is a reference to like the Balkan Peninsula, but if you're also from that region, man, fucking join this sect of Gamecat. Very cool.
Finally, last but not least, we've got Goodwin _ the Gamecat _ VR.
I think there's 2 letters missing from that. We're going to need a couple. We're going to need a PS in there as well. PSVR. No, that's not true. Gamecats, of course. We 100% VR agnostic Gamecats. We love you guys. We love that you're supporting all the different platforms, not just PSVR.
But I support games, man. All games. Good games is what I care about. I don't care if it's even flat screen. Like, who cares? It's all gaming entertainment. Enjoy your shit and have fun doing it. and spread the good word.
And stop giving us shit for liking what we like. God damn it. Like, what the fuck is the problem? There's so much negativity out there lately. Like, you can't fucking like PSVR. It's not good anymore. I jump ship to Quest and I'm a fucking crybaby. Go fuck yourself. All right, we got Genetic Blasphemy, the reverse engineered Gamecat with the $5 tip. Says AJ is hashtag no lamps Dreadhalls tomorrow on viewer choice. Or is that on Halloween? Hashtag no lamps.
Oh, I was so looking forward to that until he reminded me. Yes, so that is surprise. It is a no lamp run coming very soon, either tomorrow night or just on Halloween. I'm gonna be doing a stream, and we are doing that. It's gonna scare the hell out of me. It's gonna be awful.
I'm excited.
But I hope you guys enjoy it. Because I'm not.
We also got Niles Drawing the Game Feeling with $5. Says, just realized this is the last Gamescast before Halloween. Happy Halloween ahead of time, everybody. Yeah, it feels wrong to not do something on Halloween. I mean, obviously we'll be doing stuff on Halloween, but it feels wrong. We should have a Gamescast, like a special, hey, like what's going on? Get dressed up and like go trick-or-treating and shit. I don't know. That's probably not going to happen. But it just feels very on brand for us to do something on Halloween. So I'm sure we'll both be doing something on our channel. It's Halloween.
Oh, yeah. Every holiday, man. I do something every holiday.
I
spend it with you guys.
I give Christmas a break because I got to deal with my family.
Yeah.
Guys, so thank you everybody who changed your name to GameCat. Obviously, if you want a shout out for next Friday's show, hashtag GameCat somewhere in the comments below. And we'll be sure to give you a shout out on next Friday's show. And we got, guys, so much news to talk about today. But first, Jay Meow over on the Discord asks, hashtag viewer takeover. Oculus usually makes it very well known when a game that's coming to them is exclusive. They typically plaster the word exclusive or only on Quest all over announcements. They didn't do that for GTA San Andreas VR. Do you think that means San Andreas VR is not exclusive and will come to PSVR?
This is something that has been really confusing for me because I thought the same thing. When he said that, I was like, he didn't say exclusive. And any company that has exclusivity will always say, even if it's just first, they'll say exclusive. However, all the reporting I see on it is saying that it's exclusive. So I don't know if that's just bad reporting or if somewhere they did follow up and say that it is an exclusive. But this is what I do know, Brian, is that
what do you know?
PlayStation Studios are partnered with Rockstar Games. We haven't had our chance to see the PSVR 2 yet and what launch games are going to be with that. Yeah. So you'd have to imagine that. I mean, GTA, we've already known about some rumors, some job listings, different things about a Grand Theft Auto or something by Rockstar in the works that was VR related. You have to imagine we will find out what that is at some point. But yeah, I think I'm with Endeavor One here. I'm thinking like Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah, I don't know. With the definitive edition of this trilogy coming to PS4 on November 11th, I just feel like there's something in the cards here for PSVR 1 gamers. I feel as though Oculus would have definitely made it clear that it was an exclusive, and I mean, I know this is like super huge conspiracy theory nonsense, but like just like Hitman 3 and getting that entire trilogy playable in PSVR, I feel like this could be a big announcement for PSVR 1 gamers who like need something to play over the next year. Sony's saying, hey, don't worry, we're still here for you. And so I do feel as though that this could, probably not at launch because it's really close. I feel like they would have said something by now. It's only like 12 days away. But potentially a patch after the new year for all three games, like Wipeout Omega Collection had, like No Man's Sky had. I feel like that's totally a possibility. We get the whole trilogy for PSVR 1, and then on PSVR 2, Grand Theft Auto 5, right?
To answer, yeah, because it could definitely run it. I mean, and San Andreas is an older game, so obviously it could, it can run on any of this hardware. But to answer the question, it all depends on who is saying exclusive. If it's just people reporting that it's exclusive and just saying that because Oculus announced it, then no, it's not exclusive. But if am I supposed to call it Oculus or Meta? Did they change that yet?
Who the fuck cares?
If Oculus says that
we all know it's Facebook.
If they were the ones, or if Rockstar are the ones that say it's exclusive, then yes, you'd have to assume then it would confirm that it is. But I haven't heard the official source say exclusive other than people reporting on it. So I have to do some more research on that. Sorry, I've been a little tight on time lately.
Yeah, everywhere I looked, I couldn't find anything that said exclusive from a reliable source. So, yeah, but that's my little theory for you. I don't know if it's gonna go down that way or not, but we'll see. But something we do know is that PlayStation Plus lineup has been revealed, and those 3 PlayStation VR games that we were told we were getting for the 5th anniversary of PlayStation VR's birthday. We now know what games those are, don't we?
Yes, Brian, and the leak that we talked about was true. Starting November 2nd all the way through January 3rd, we are getting The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners free on PlayStation Plus, which is awesome. That is our highest rated game, well-deserved. And, that is huge for us gamers. And I hope a lot of you that were waiting for the game to go $20 or less, I hope you finally get the chance to play this and see how good it is. I mean, again, the most amazing, gritty, physics-based combat. It is absolutely awesome. But there's more, Brian. we've also got
Wait, there's more.
The Persistence,
Oh, yeah.
which is another top tier game that we absolutely love. I have 40 hours in this game and the Platinum Trophy, and I loved it from start to finish. If you're a fan of System Shock, System Shock and like System Shock 2, Event Horizon, it is a great, amazing game. And that they're a first party studio now, Firesprite is, which is, you have to imagine, has something to do with this, right?
I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you want to be pushing these games? But I think there's obviously way more. There's a reason for these games, I think, more than anything else. But I think that we'll save that for a conversation later in the show.
Maybe the Gamecat runs said, I'm a speed run 'em. You are gonna love speed running The Persistence. That game is so badass, and that is a great one.
That's a good name change, by the way. We got to give you a shout out next Friday. David the Gamecat runs. It's good. A resident speed runner.
Yes. But, of course, last but not least, Until You Fall by Shell Games, which is another one that I think some people kind of were holding out on. I know a couple people that were holding out on. And so, boom, congratulations. You now get The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, The Persistence, and Until You Fall, 3 free new games for PlayStation Plus starting November 2nd, days away.
Yeah, it's like $100 worth of free PSVR games. Not even counting taxes and shit. This is it's great, man. It's absolutely great because these are some really incredible games that if you did sleep on them, then I mean this is your chance to really try them out and see what we've been raving about for a while. Until you
don't want to sleep on these games, you want to sleep with these games. These are games you want to sleep with.
Sure.
Not on.
Yeah, I think each of these games when they came out were contenders for our game of the year on PlayStation VR, and every single one of these should make our top 25 list as long as somebody like Showcat doesn't come along and screw that up for us.
Yeah. Also, 3 top 25 list games.
Yeah.
One being the number 1 spot. You got to play Saints and Sinners.
For now.
I heard that Marvel is now, on a side note, Marvel is now partnering with Skydance Interactive. So congratulations to you guys. That is pretty cool. It'll be interesting to see if they end up, I'm curious now how big Skydance Interactive is and if this is a potential VR game or not, because that's a good team to have behind that. All the information coming out about them is true. They are really talented, really experienced.
Yeah, we'll see how this all goes down. Who knows if it's a VR game or what's going on, but yeah, can't wait to see what they do next.
This would have been a great announcement during State of Play, don't you think, Brian?
Yeah, man, State of Play would have been great, but I think Oculus proved the following day that things could have been much, much worse. We've got Kill Artist 1, the Dreamweaver Gamecat with the $5 tip says, everyone who hasn't jumped into Affected the Manor, it got the resolution patch today and it looks so much better. This is what happens when I stay awake until 5 a.m. to watch a horror movie. I kind of slept in today and missed the update. I didn't realize the update came. So I'm going to have to jump in and see. We also got Bel Ramio with the $5 tip says, I'm late. What did I miss? The 3 games are amazing, even if I have all 3, of course, already. Yeah, that's the downside, obviously. I'm sure a lot of people have these, but a lot of the comments I've seen, a lot of people don't. And of course, your sci-fi Gamecat Henry, Jeremy the NES rookie with the New Zealand $2 says, Until You Fall is rad. Still needs trophies patched. Agreed. What the fuck's going on with that? Shell Games, get on that.
Yeah. It'd be nice to have a little update. Ahmed Kuja's in the chat and went to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong and said Skydance New Media, not interactive, guys. Sorry, Skydance New Media.
Well, right, and that's an important distinction to make because it could very well not be a game.
I love Kind of Funny, man. I watched Blessing and Janet today. They were both dressed as Spider-Man. Made me feel bad for not dressing up this Friday before Halloween. Anyways, man, yeah. Super good news all around and awesome games. But that's not the only news we got today, Brian.
No, what other news did we get today?
We got some actually really big news, and that came from Games Radar. And basically, they posted an article saying PSVR PS5 will apparently be backwards compatible with current PSVR games. And what has essentially happened was that there was a brand marketing specialist who goes by the Nexus on Reset Era, who they were talking about the PlayStation Plus November 2021 games that were included. And they commented saying, for those wondering, PSVR 1.0 titles will work on 2.0. Add to library equals profit. So this brand marketing specialist, who is verified, who is known to, who has a good track record on calling these kinds of things, has claimed that PSVR games will work on PSVR 2, Brian.
I mean, that's kind of the dream, right? It makes sure that we don't have to have our PSVR 1s hooked up anymore. Being able to just jump right into all these games, like, 'cause we've got so many amazing exclusives and so many amazing, PSVR 1 games that just I know that I've gone on record saying, listen, if Sony has to make this major step forward, and say, listen, like, we're changing the game as far as VR is concerned, and that means that PSVR 1 sort of had to get left in the dust, and we couldn't do this cross-compatible thing. I've gone on record saying, if that's what has to happen to really propel VR forward, I won't be thrilled about it, but do what you got to do, man, because we need to make sure that PSVR 2 is the coolest fucking thing on the face of the planet, and from all reports, it sounds like it's going to be. This, however, would make it just absolutely an immediate transition for anyone who already owns PSVR 1 wanting to jump in. They already get a library of games. They've been heavily discounted. We've got tons of them free on PlayStation Plus. There's very few PlayStation gamers out there who don't have a ton of VR games in their library. Whether they own PSVR or not, they should have been adding them to the library the entire time. So it's a really smart move if this rumor is true.
It is a smart move. From what we know, the official stuff that we know, is that, from the leaks that we saw earlier this year, we saw that Sony was going to have a focus on AAA games, AAA hybrids, focus on getting third party to add VR modes. But in terms of backwards compatibility, the only thing we had heard was that they were going to have a focus on remasters. So it's funny. Games Radar says you have to take this with a pinch of salt. So I'm not the only person that says pinch of salt.
I saw that. I was like, did AJ write this article? This is ridiculous.
They borrowed me for a day. But yeah. So there's only one unknown for me that when it comes to this being a possibility. The hardware can support it. We've been hearing, Brian, about Sony tinkering with technology that can actually not only emulate PSVR 1 on the PS5, but enhance it just naturally using foveated rendering and certain other techniques. So the big question mark for me here is the input system. Tracking is one thing. Tracking, going from outside in tracking to inside out tracking, to me, I was talking about this with some of the cats in the Discord earlier. You can, when you calibrate your tracking lights on the system, you're telling the camera what to see, and so that it knows what it is, what to follow, what to track. With PSVR 2, I could see them having something where it's just it already knows what to follow and what to track. It already knows that this is the headset. It already knows that these are the two controllers. That's easy. The problem the other thing for me though that seems hard to do is the inputs, the actual button inputs. We are going to have joysticks now. We're going to have a different button layout. There's a total of 8 face buttons on the Move controllers. There's only 4 total, I think, on the orbs. So that's the only big unknown for me is okay, how are they going to adapt to the button inputs?
Yeah, it seems like a lot of these would require some patches. A lot of games don't use all the buttons, but even the movement system, holding down the move button, it would be one thing if you had to hold down different buttons for different directions to move, but it's the fact that you're holding the move button and pointing the move controller in different directions. I feel like that mapping would be hard to automatically say, hey, this here means this on an analog stick, and this here means this on an analog stick. I mean, maybe not. Maybe there's some developers that can tell me that that's actually super simple. That it's just a simple remapping option. But I mean, and if that's the case, then fucking let's hope so, man, because that would be that would be great. But again, like any developers that's still around, the biggest issue I have is for games that developers have just gone under. And there's just no chance of those games getting patched or updated or anything. And so I can't imagine, for those reasons, not from any technical or hardware reasons, those reasons, I think that some games are just going to get left in the dust. And we don't know if this rumor is true either. So it's like, pinch of salt.
We don't know if this is true, but man, I got to tell you, call it a hunch. I kind of feel like it makes sense, though, that it would happen. I mean, he's right when he says it is a huge opportunity. It is something that a lot of the community, there's a lot of people right now just waiting for PSVR2.
Yeah.
And they're just waiting and waiting and waiting. They don't want the Gen 1, which is fine, but they didn't go the other route, the other options. But yeah, so they would potentially miss out on a huge library. I'd have to think of it. I try to compare it to what's going on with PS5 right now. There could be some games that are backwards compatible. There could be a message saying some games might not play properly in this mode. Use the original hardware for the best experience. Because that's kind of what we've gotten. We've gotten some games that have had some issues. Very few, but definitely some issues that have popped up. And the games work. But I compare it again to the PS4 and PS5 library, where there are backwards compatible PS4 games. And then there's some that eventually get a remaster or an upgrade, a PS5 version SKU that gets re-released. And I think that is really what's going to be the biggest benefit. But there's a lot of games I wouldn't want to leave behind either.
Right. I mean, we give Sony a lot of credit for making sure that we are still getting games during this time that's super slowed down. That PlayStation VR is not the sales leader, not even remotely close as far as platforms are concerned when it comes to selling software. And so there's got to, other than just keeping PlayStation VR 1 gamers happy and showing that they haven't given up support of the platform, there seems like there's got to be this other reason that they keep throwing money at developers to bring their games to us. We're getting exclusives. They're making sure that we're getting a lot of the third-party stuff. And then, of course, now with the celebration of the 5-year anniversary, we've gotten these 3 big titles. And it's just it just seems like they are gearing up to be like, yeah, this is all just going to transfer over. It just makes sense because now and then they'll be able to like recoup some of their losses on these expenditures. But who knows, man? Who knows? Again, I'm still going to stand by what I said. If we have to ditch PSVR 1 to move into the future, then so be it. It's just going to suck because I know that I'm never going to hook up my PSVR 1 again. The breakout box, the cables, all that shit. It works great because I've got it plugged in and like I never have to unplug it. It's just there for me to use all the time. But the second I unplug all that stuff and put it into the closet, that might be it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you, and Jay Meow told me earlier, like, I'm definitely more interested in the future. I have played these games ad nauseum, and am playing new releases constantly, and I tend to beat them for review. However, there are a couple that I would love to revisit, and especially for people that haven't gotten to play them yet, I think is an even bigger deal.
Absolutely. Now, before we move off from this conversation, I do want to give a shout out to quite a few cats who tipped during this. He said, "Uncertainty Principle, Pavlov ignoring science cat with the $5 tips. I really hope we get Until You Fall DLC soon. I hope so too. It seems like a natural thing. They even in the trophy list it does say finish the Dark Woods campaign or whatever the hell they called it. I forget what it was called.
I still have a lot of time I need to spend into that. See, that's another reason backwards compatibility would be great.
Yes.
Because there's games that I've played but I didn't finish, and I would love to get a chance to finish them. Although I would much rather play a remastered version of that game because I think we got a Quest port for the Until You Fall version we got.
Yeah, and sometimes that's a bad thing. I don't think. I mean, obviously it could look better, but I do think it's crystal clear and it has a nice art style. So I'm certainly not complaining about the version we got. We also got Hugh Guyver with the Australian $5. Says any news on if or when PokerStars or any similar game is coming out? PSVR without Parole, fire. God damn it, Hugh. I usually know
Shout out to your
something.
cousin Mac.
Yeah, right. I usually know something, a little something, right? Whether it be, hey, this game's delayed, no news. Or, hey, this game is blah, 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 no news. Or, hey, we're going to tell you why and just don't tell anybody. I know nothing about PokerStars. Like, legit, that game, the trophy list popped. We were all like, it must be coming within the next week or two. And then just fucking radio silence for a year now. That is one of the biggest mysteries on PSVR, if you ask me. Let's get Miles Dyer with the £2. Says, do you know any Halloween jokes? I don't.
But I think you got that covered, Miles.
I want to see everybody's Halloween jokes in the chat. Like, fucking bring that shit on, man. Big time. Scott Jesco, PSN, Harry Fellow, PSVR Gamecat for Life with the £2. Says, cheers for the shout out for my Mrs. birthday. She loved it. Awesome.
Hell yeah. Scott Jesco, PSN, Harry Fellow, PSVR Gamecat for Life.
Real? Not even future past. I think he's actually present. We got Jamie out with a $2 tip. Says backward compatibility would be nice, but I don't absolutely need it.
It's not all about you, Jay. I know you think otherwise. Not everything revolves around you, okay? Don't be selfish.
And I think finally, just I want to make sure we don't miss anybody here. We got a $2 tip from Wolveraza. It says PSVR2 is going to be so amazing.
It is, man. Oh my God, you don't even know. There's stuff I don't even know yet. There's a lot we don't even know. We haven't even gotten the official announcement. So that, the rumor right now is that December, sometime in December, is going to be the big reveal. And man, it's sounds everything we're hearing. I mean, sounds like it could be something really special. Going to be a huge game changer. And again, having something like full backwards compatibility is another one of those things that is just going to bolster the lineup, the launch lineup. I mean, to go, hey, we've got, hypothetically, we've got Gran Turismo 7, Resident Evil Village, Grand Theft Auto, Horizon VR, and then the entire PSVR library. Oh, and then there's some other launch games. Like, that is, like, out the gate, like, good to go. That would really bolster the launch library if that is a feature. And that is something that would make me go, okay, my mind is blown.
Yeah, absolutely. Miles Dyer with the £2 says, no. I asked, got any Halloween jokes? Something's not translating here via text. We have to get Miles up here on the screen so we can understand exactly what he's saying. Thank you so much for the support, all of you cats out there. We really, really appreciate you. And before we go on to our next news story, we got Emily Baxter, hashtag the Game Kit with a $2 tip, says, can't be Halloween without the cartoony witch. Oh, Emily's the cartoony witch. It took me a second. I was like, who the fuck's the cartoon? Oh, you, the one who hates cartoons because you hate everything that's wholesome and good in life.
Well, so like I said, can't wait to see about on this. But moving on, After the Fall got a release date of December 9th. And this is huge news because this is one of the most anticipated games coming out. Excuse me. But also, Brian,
yes,
this means that December is going to be awesome. We usually, the last couple of years, around December and January and whatnot, it's usually a sluggish time for releases. I think last year we got Swords of Gargantua, and the year before that we got Touring Carts, and that was it for December.
Yeah.
So Decembers usually suck, but there's usually a good sale. But this is great because we're getting new releases this time.
Can we have a moment of silence for all the when is this game coming out? Oh, After the Fall jokes?
Why?
All right.
It is After the Fall.
Not technically,
apparently,
is it? Is it?
Yeah, actually, Ryan from the VR Grid posted, so it is coming during the fall.
Fuck that
and
kid.
then And then they actually responded to Ryan and said, "Well, no, this year it falls on the 9th, and I think the fall ends December 7th this year is what they said." So they said technically it does release after the fall. So
After the fall.
Congratulations! I'm sure they scheduled the release right around that.
This is the reason, right? They weren't delaying the game because they were like improving it. They were just like, well, we have to stay true to our namesake. And of course, during the Oculus event yesterday, they announced that Vertigo Games will be working to bring 5 new VR games to VR platforms. They made it sound like it was an Oculus thing, but it's in fact it's not Oculus exclusive.
Yeah, they partnered with Oculus. It was weird because they said, "Oh, we've partnered with Oculus for 5 brand new VR games."
Right.
But then somebody asked them, and they said, "Well, no, it's actually not. We're not confirming they're exclusive." Or they said they're definitely not exclusive. Yeah. We don't know which ones are. If that means like some of them are, some of them aren't. So it was kind of weird, but that's great news for us. And they actually mentioned too that that they'll be working on some games that include games by, what is it? Wait, hold on. Wait, so they actually responded yesterday. They said, in response to questions from the community, we can confirm that these 5 VR titles are not exclusive to the Oculus platform.
Right.
It is too early to share additional details today. However, stay tuned. So yes, they publicly said that. But they said we're taking on 5 more high-end titles in production over the coming years, including fan favorites from Deep Silver and others. And for those who don't know, Brian,
Dead Island.
Yes, I know.
Or Dying Light, right?
You've been saying you've wanted Dead Island VR so bad.
So bad. Screw the sequel, man. Just bring us the first one in VR multiplayer. I'll be really, really happy. That game was a lot of fun.
So Deep Silver makes Metro series. They make Saints Row and Dead Island. And I think there's also another one called Chorus the Game. They made Time Splitters and more. Time Splitters VR. Man, yes. Give me Time Splitters 2 in VR.
We got Jamie out with the $5 tip. Says, I bet Oculus just paid them to make sure their future games will work on Quest and not just drop them once PSVR2 releases. I mean, it's going to be a really interesting transition. That's all I'm going to say. Because
I'll be honest with you, I like how aggressive Oculus is getting with this. You know, I think it's good. I think it again, this kind of stuff breeds more competition.
Right.
And when they start making moves like this, at some point, you know, other companies are going to have to look at this and be like, well, they took this kind of strategy. They got this from PlayStation, which is partnering with people, paying them money to get exclusives, to get things. And I was glad to see that they got Resident Evil 4 and got it exclusive. I mean, of course I want to play it, which I will at some point, but I think it is good competitive business. And you know, there's a lot of divisiveness whether or not exclusives are good or bad.
They're great.
And yeah, to me personally,
it's easy to say when you have all the best exclusives.
I was gonna say, as a PlayStation fan, I have always loved exclusives, Brian. But I don't. But I think it's good. Like I said, I've always applauded Oculus for making these moves because I think Sony's going to return fire with their own, and I think the people that own these platforms are gonna be happier with these, saying, I get to experience this, you know.
Yeah, big time, man, big time. All right.
Poe says I think exclusivity is actually hurting VR overall. I can understand that in some way because you sell more onto different platforms. That's kind of why PlayStation is actually doing a PC kind of route, is because it's like years later. Yeah. But again, I still think exclusives are super important for brand identity.
Yeah, dude. If it wasn't, I think exclusives are helping VR big time. If it wasn't for Resident Evil 4 VR, I would not own a Quest 2. When they made that announcement, I was like, all right, fine, I'll buy one. Right? And so, and I'm a guy that plays most of my stuff on PSVR. So, and I'm sure that every so often there's an exclusive on PSVR, but Quest owners or PCVR owners go, well, that's gonna cause me to take the jump and own multiple headsets. Otherwise, everybody would just own one headset. If there were no exclusives, you just pick one and be done with it. But since there are exclusives, you get to kind of like spread the VR love around. And so that's I just really think again that this is going to be such an interesting transition moving into next gen VR because I do think that too many PSVR2 games just won't fucking run on anything else just because of the way that all the system architecture is going to work, converting all these hybrid games over to VR. I just don't think it's going to work on a lot of other platforms. So I think it's going to be really interesting to watch. That's all I'll say. I probably said too much. Yep. I won't say anything else.
I'm reading the comments. I fucking love you guys so much.
You guys, it's the best community in the world. I look everywhere else and there's just fucking negativity and shit. And then here it's like everyone's so awesome.
Yeah, they are.
We also got one more tip before we get moving from Jeremy, the NES rookie, with a New Zealand $2 says exclusive trade. Can we swap RE4 for Bravo Team? Yes.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Let's do it. I would make that deal all day.
You have my permission.
That would be, I should say this. Yeah, that would be a really smart move on Oculus, and that would be really bad for Sony. Us in PSVR land would be really in trouble. Lots of trouble if they made that move. Just in case someone from Oculus is listening.
We also got Professor Lilith with $5 tip says this Sunday, Halloween multiplayer, 2 p.m. Eastern. I didn't realize I forgot multiplayer Sunday. Got to remember that. Werewolves Within. November 2nd survey is out now on the Discord. Guys, make sure you join our Discord and so you can participate in these multiplayer meetups and get in on some of these giveaways. Lots of great stuff. Thank you, Professor Lilith. We've also got Song in the Flame Cat with the 20 Sekiros saying, please make Miles stop. Miles, keep it up, man. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, he also says, I love you, Miles.
Yeah, with another 20 Sekiros, I love you, Miles.
He says, Miles says, donate another 80. All right, guys. So moving on to the other main event of the evening, Stride, Brian.
Oh, yeah.
Stride, we got a 1-year update. Let me bring up my notes because holy God, did they drop a massive update on this game with tons of new info, including a kind of update on the PSVR port a little bit. More on that later. But yeah, they did a 1-year recap of Stride, talking about the a bunch of success that it's had, that they've done things from like reducing the price to $14.99 to match all platforms. So now I'm guessing that when it comes to PSVR, it's going to be $14.99 as well. Apparently that worked well for them. But yeah, Brian, I've got a bunch of notes, but I'm sure you got something to say on this.
Yeah, I'm actually going to disagree with you right off the bat. I think that with this game is $15 and it's kind of a $15 game right now. I don't think Sony makes it quite as easy to do the whole price change deal. So I do think we're going to see probably this thing launch at $20 when it hits the PlayStation Store. With the promise that, hey, more content is coming. But dude, so here's the thing. Other than watching the trailers and sort of keeping up with Joyway's Twitter account and their Discord to keep an eye on all the updates, I haven't really been following Stride as much as I would have liked. And so most of what I know about Stride comes from Dave Station's initial stream, his first impression stream, where like things didn't go terribly well and he had like some major control problems running around jumping and grabbing onto ledges and doing everything you're supposed to do in this game. And so it's a lot of those control issues have been ironed out. A lot of things have been changed. They've really been listening to the community and making tons and tons of changes. Like I think this was like version 9.0 they were talking about. Like they just updating this thing nonstop. So
they did improve the tutorial as well as one of those things. I've got a whole list of all the changes. Whenever you're ready, just let me go.
Yeah, if you just want to list them off, but what I'll say is just so anyone who has been keeping up with this knows where I'm at. Like there are things in these trailers and these gameplay videos that they didn't even talk about, like the Windlands like grappling system and some of the drones and things like that, where I was like, when did they add those? Obviously it was in one of the many patches. So I'm just loving kind of getting this flood of information all at once and seeing new things that they're not even talking about that have just been updated. So yeah, man, go ahead. Tell us what's been added.
Yeah, so real quick, for those who don't know, Stride is a action platformer that's kind of like Mirror's Edge. It was definitely inspired by Mirror's Edge. But since they basically were going to bring this, they were going to add a story mode and bring this game to PlayStation VR, and then they said, hold a second. We don't have the manpower, the resources to deliver a full, good story mode in a reasonable amount of time. And basically, so they went back and decided to, they said they wanted to improve the skeleton of the game, the core mechanics. They have improved the tutorials. They've added an endless mode with, the endless mode now has new sections and difficulties. There are new enemies. There are modifiers. They've added achievements, which will, obviously be trophies when they come to us. Power-ups. There are doors and windows now, like they showed in the video, that you can like jump through a window and break through the glass, which is pretty cool. They also said that they have many major content updates ahead. With the game has now become 3 game modes. It started as just a 1 game mode, I believe, in early access, but essentially. They have the level design. This was one of the big things that we saw in this update, is that they showed us a first look at the story mode, and they showed in part of that the graphical overhaul that the story mode has, and goddamn does it look good, Brian.
Yeah, it went from looking like just like a Mirror's Edge ripoff with everything being super stark white and just, a couple key locations having a splash of color in them, to being like they're going for something way more photorealistic, deeper textures, more richer textures, just a ton more detail all around. The lighting system seems to be radically improved. It's just a better looking game. And they said that this is for, I think that what they were showing off were the slums. It was like supposed to be the early part of the game, early part of the campaign.
Right. It starts in the urban slums, and you are playing as a protagonist, the protagonist that does a job as a chaser. And so I'm guessing you're supposed to chase down enemies, and then the events escalate into storage facilities with like shootouts. They're building skyscrapers. They're building like places, scenery with neon signs. And they're really trying to handcraft the lore, the plot, and the characters separate. This is all going to be separate from the arcade mode.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's, yeah, I mean, the improvements look incredible. And they also, what they're showing right here is the multiplayer mode, which they did basically a multiplayer beta or multiplayer test. And they said 8,000 people got in on that. They were able to really, test the servers and test all the modes, and they took everybody's feedback. And now they've taken down the multiplayer servers because now they're in, now they're back into development, seeing like what was the response, what did everybody like, what didn't they like, and they're going deep into making sure that the multiplayer mode is exactly what people want. So even though you can't play multiplayer mode currently on I think any version. It will.
No, it was an open alpha, and they completed the thing, and they thanked everybody for doing that. And man, the multiplayer, even though it was like really early, the multiplayer looked really good, and they said that they have a bunch of online modes in development. And yeah, they have completed the public alpha is basically what they have done recently with the multiplayer. But man, fully fleshed out game. Now here's the last 2 things. One of them is that they don't know how they're going to approach the the story mode. They said that we have 2 choices. They can either release it episodic, and it come out faster, or we can do it, or it can take longer and release the thing as a whole. So Brian, what I was thinking was, why don't we poll the cats right now and say, would you want it to be episodic sooner, or one full campaign that takes a lot longer? And maybe we can give them our feedback from our community. I will happily take that to them and let them know. Or you actually are pretty tight with them, so you could talk to them. But this game, like I said, this game looked like it started out as a simplistic little arcade game that was fun. I was really excited about it. But holy crap, does this game look promising in the future? This looks like a real deal, awesome game that is going to come out. So finally, while you get that done, Brian, the only thing they gave us is that it is scheduled for release on PSVR. We know it was supposed to come out earlier this year, so that's not a huge update in terms of in terms of releases. But when they say scheduled for release, do you think that means they already have a release date planned, or do you think that just means okay?
Yes, 100%.
So you think their release date is already set in stone?
Yes, it's coming this year.
Okay.
FYI, straight
it's
from the
still
source.
coming. It's still coming this year. So because I don't think they ever said it wasn't going to release this year.
Right. And I asked them very, very recently. I said, hey, like, what's the deal? Will we get into this campaign at launch? And they said, no, campaign's fucking craziness. And, that's not going to be there at launch. And I was like, all right. And then I said, are you still going to make it this year? And they said, yes, that's still the plan. It's like, very cool.
Okay.
Waleed Sahid Faridi with the Canadian $2 says, hey, guys, one full campaign and on PSVR2. All right.
Yes.
Yeah,
I like the way you think.
So, yeah, and honestly, I mean, just my personal perspective on this, we usually kind of give episodic games or whatever a hard time, but honestly, like they're saying this will take years to get the full campaign out, and so it's like, well, I think the fact is I'd rather play a piece of it now and see what happens than to wait a couple years or even a year to finally play it. I just don't think. I think by the time this full campaign is out, like we'll have moved on to bigger and better things. And so that's the
risk.
So get your shit out now, man. And like while people are still interested in it, and like maybe we'll come back to it as as we do as time goes on. But like just kind of highly doubtful.
I think while I completely understand wanting the full thing at once. I think I'm kind of with you in that if I have the arcade mode, it'd be like, okay, that's great. That's fun. Get a couple hours out of that, especially if they refined it. And then gradually get the campaign portions out over time. I wouldn't mind that at all, actually.
Yeah.
But I totally understand those that want the complete experience with the game, especially with the way the campaign looks. And if it comes out with the story mode, the multiplayer, all that stuff. But yeah, I'm still we're still getting the arcade mode. So it's really, we'll have that to play regardless.
Right.
It's all going to come down to how do you want the story. So that makes sense.
And with 77 votes, a majority of people are saying they'd rather wait longer and get it all at once. 68% said that. Only 32% said they would rather get some now and some later episodically. Totally understandable. I get it, man. Episodic has just
I get both sides.
A bad name. Bad name.
It does. This is a little bit different than a traditional episodic kind of thing, but I totally understand wanting the full experience.
Agreed. All right, man. Well,
how excited are you for Stride, Brian?
A little excited. Like
a little excited. I'm very excited. This game is like my kind of jam right here.
I mean, the fact is here's what I love about what Stride is doing. I don't love the fact that there's no meat to the game. It's really like a lot of challenges and just it doesn't. I'm a way bigger fan of campaigns than I am of something that's sort of like leaderboard-ish like this. And that's and that's just a personal preference. I know a lot of people will really, really, really love this. In the same kind of vein as like Pistol Whip, like doing the same thing over and over for the highest score or whatever. And that's great. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But what I'm really excited about for this game is that I don't feel like enough developers are taking risks on locomotion. I think too many developers are playing it safe. We live in a time where teleportation sometimes is still our only option, which is craziness. Some people are still doing node-to-node teleportation, not giving us the freedom of where to teleport. Developers are still very, very, very cautious about how to move us around in VR. And with games like Sirento letting us do triple jumps and quadruple jumps and backflips and side flips and just, slowing. I mean, it's an incredible feeling. And so games like this, I think, are really, really important to help push the medium forward, where you can just grab onto ledges and wall run and do jumps and shoot in midair and jump from one, like wall jump from one ledge to another, and just kind of having that complete freedom of movement. Yes, it's going to make some people sick, but I mean, you got to crack a few eggs to make the omelet. That's
A
it.
few heads too.
Crack a few heads. All right, I know we're gonna see videos of people like fucking crashing into walls playing this.
Oh man.
Right. All right, man. Well, Stride looks awesome.
It looks amazing to me. Well, I think their vision of what they want it to be in the future looks incredible to me. Because I enjoyed Mirror's Edge a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's like one of the few kind of first-person, fast-paced platforming games that actually worked well on a flat screen. Because most are a disaster. And in VR, that's gonna be way better. So if it's super polished, yeah, I'm all for it. Like that looks dope as hell.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, we're gonna skip our little suicide guy or the guy VR conversation. I'm still just everybody hold off on that game for a little bit. The controls need work, and right now it runs like garbage on PS5. I'm doing my best to get a review out for PlayStation 4, and hopefully they'll patch the PS5 version. But we did get something that's a little bit more polished this week, and that was Affected the Manor Complete Edition. Now, before we even talk about our impressions of this, I want to make it very, very clear that you should buy Affected the Manor, still the original version if you're interested in this, and then get the complete edition for free, even if they're the same price. I just want to make absolute sure that everyone is still able to get the original version and the complete edition, because they download as two separate tiles on your PlayStation homepage.
Yeah, that was really strange. That was really confusing to me.
Yeah, it was confusing to a lot of people, so you weren't alone on that. But
yeah,
here, let me bring up an Affected the Manor trailer here. Done and boom. All right, so sorry, we just entered the Gamecat Dojo there for a second. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. So the deal with this is that the complete edition and the original Affected, even when you just run through the manor, graphically very different. The layout's different. Like some of the same scares happen, some of the same core concepts happen, but they're done very differently. So you're definitely going to want to like play both. I think they're different enough experiences where you want to play both. So buy the original, and then as soon as you buy the original for like $8, the complete edition will suddenly be free, and you can just download that from the PlayStation Store. AJ, what were your impressions of this?
Well, the first thing I jumped back in, that was the first thing, was I got a little confused because I know I keep giving Sony shit, and I'm not going to stop giving Sony shit about this. But like I tried to check for update on the game. There was no update. I remember the people saying that there was a separate download. So I go to the store. I go to latest release. Well, first of all, I just try to find the VR section, and I go to like collections or whatever, and there's PS5, PS4, PlayStation Plus. I'm like, where is my VR section? Yeah. And then I go away from collections. I go back to collections, and then VR shows up at the bottom, and I'm like, oh. So I go there, and then I go to latest releases, and it's not there. And I'm like, great. So I actually typed in Affected the Manor, and then finally it popped up and said Affected the Manor Complete Edition for free. And I downloaded it, and I was like, oh, it's a separate download. So then I got into the game. My first impressions, Brian, was what's with the controls? So I'll be honest with you. Yeah. My first impressions were, why are the trigger buttons the walking button and the move button, mm-hmm. the grabbing button? Why do you do this to me, developers?
because this was a game that came out in 2017, I believe, or 2018 on PSVR, and it was obviously just a port from a mobile version, and developers didn't obviously have much experience with PlayStation VR. That's how the original Affected the Manor worked, and they did not really change the control system for this. When you play with the move controllers, it's very strange. You pull the trigger to move. Now here's the reason I think they stuck with this, because it's a variable move speed, right? You can pull it all the way to walk fast, or kind of feather the trigger a little bit to really creep your way through. And I do think that is like maybe a better way to walk through a haunted house. I'm not defending their choice. I do think it's very awkward and strange, but there were so many times where I was just kind of feathering it because I was like, I don't want to keep moving. This is fucking terrifying. And I was just looking at everything as I walked by, just waiting for a jump scare. And then when I was like, all right, I'm ready to run, like I just held it down, so it gives you a little bit more control over your walk speed than double tapping the move button to run, right? It's just
I thought it was momentum based because if you squeeze the trigger, it still starts out slow and then eventually starts running faster.
for the gauntlet, yeah.
Oh, for the gauntlet. Okay.
Yeah, the gauntlet. So one of the it still has the campaign. Now the campaign is like when you walk through the manor as a haunted house. There's still multiple paths to take. So it takes about like 20, 25 minutes, I think, to walk through the manor the first time. And then you go back and just take a completely separate path. There's two radically different paths to take. But then even during those, I think they branch out a little bit further.
They do, yeah.
And I think, so there's multiple endings, and you want to spend some time doing that, and it's good. So like if you have friends over for Halloween, you go through once, you show them how it's done, and then you put somebody else in and say, now you take the alternate route. And so they've watched you play and get scared, and now there's a whole new set of scares, a whole new set of rooms for them, which is pretty cool.
Before I even get to my impressions on the gauntlet mode, the darkness mode, and the other mode, I have some good things to say as well.
Nice.
But I would really like them to swap the mapping on those buttons because that's annoying. That is something from 2017. When you revamp the entire game, I was shocked that they didn't update the controls as well. And on top of that, the turn speed is also god awful. The turning speed is incredibly slow. So with that out of the way, though, this game looks really beautiful. The game when it first came out, it looked like a it looked like kind of a mobile game, but it was like really polished still. And they have really upped their game here graphically. And I feel like, even though it's not going to absolutely blow you away, I think it looks really, really good with the new graphical overhaul. The lighting is super impressive.
You played post-patch then, so it wasn't blurry at all for you?
Because
I haven't checked that out yet. Apparently it got patched.
I played it last night.
Okay. I'll have to.
It was like a little. It was like a little, but it wasn't like bad. It actually mostly looked good. I thought the new lighting system was excellent. In fact.
Good. Okay, that's good to hear. Good to hear because it felt really washed out for me before the patch. It looked like they kind of like screwed up the contrast. Everything looked a little washed out and way blurry. I even went on my stream back to the original Affected. It was like, yep, pretty much crystal clear. It looks great. A lot of like blacks and like really like nice contrast, and it was so much more effective. That said, once you're going through the manor and you're just like, holding up your flashlight and like, oh fuck, what's gonna happen? All that shit just falls by the wayside. But yeah, an FYI, the trigger isn't the worst thing about the move control scheme. I think the worst part about the move control scheme is that it only walks the way that you're facing. It uses head movement for everything. And so you could have your move controller facing this way, and you're still going to, if you're facing this way, you're still going to walk forward. And so, especially in a haunted house like this, I would have loved the ability to kind of like strafe around corners, just being like, kind of peer out before I start heading around. And instead, you kind of like have to walk into corners blind. You have to walk straight ahead and then turn. On the DualShock, you can strafe. And so this really does need a control update for multiple reasons, not just the trigger.
Yeah. That didn't bother me too much because of the style of the game, the way the game is. But yeah, the original modes, I actually went back through the original modes, which, like you said, is branching paths. And it's slightly different. Like they use a lot of the same. It's very similar, right. But there's definitely like a visually a different look to it. And I was walking through it going, oh, this looks way better than it used to. Even though some of the stuff I was like, well, I kind of missed some of the stuff that happened. But that being said, it just visually it just is much more impressive now. Then there was the gauntlet mode, which is basically like it's basically a mode where you have to you start from the beginning and you have to run as fast as you can through to get to the end, and you're timed. And there's basically like poltergeist stuff happening while there's like we said, there's this momentum system where you squeeze the trigger, and the longer you run for, the faster you go. And if you get hit by something like a levitating chair or something, it stops your momentum and you have to build it back up again. And this for me was where the looking movement, the looking directional turning and stuff kind of worked because like I could like turn left turn right, turn left, turn right with my head, and it was really quick. So it actually kind of worked for me there.
Yeah, it's supposed to. I mean, it's yeah. Doing that actually really worked great. It took a second for me to get used to, but I don't. The weird thing about this mode, the Gauntlet mode, is that it's the leaderboards are all about it's about speed running it and getting through as fast as you can, so not getting not running into tables and things that get thrown in front of you, and then you lose your momentum, have to start all up again. But it also says that it's listening for your screams. Which I felt really strange because the Gauntlet to me didn't seem scary at all. It felt like an endless runner that was like Halloween themed.
It was just like a cool Halloween endless runner.
Yeah, I don't know how the screams are implemented into your score, whether they reduce your score because you get scared or what the deal is. But I don't know, man. It was just it felt really strange to me, and it doesn't seem like a mode that I'm going to be playing a whole lot of. Like I ran through it once, and I was like, I don't really have a desire to run through this again. But I'll do it a few more times just to give it a fair shake. But what did you think of the darkness mode, man? Because that was the one I was most excited for.
So the Gauntlet was cool. The darkness mode was honestly, these felt just like more versions of the main mode. I didn't like completely understand what was going on because like it was like I was going through the darkness mode and you're just kind of holding a candle and walking through, and there's like a bunch of jump scares, which was cool. But like, yeah, I would like see something and then like it would go, and then it would just kind of like, I'd keep going. And I was like, okay. Yep. So like, I've always looked at this game as kind of like a haunted house simulator kind of thing. Like it's very much like a haunted house. And I think for the money that it gets, well, let me hear your thoughts on the darkness mode real quick.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, more of the same, but just happy to have a new area of the Manor to explore. And doing it by candlelight is creepier. Just like not being able to see what there's at least a couple staircases that you go down, and you're like, if I had a flashlight, I'd be able to see what's at the end of this thing. But with a candle, you're just like, you can only see like this like bubble of light around you, and it's like, man, what the fuck is in front of me? So it was. Yeah. It was cool. Although I will say that I think nothing is scarier than when you get used to using the flashlight in the regular mode and then it flickers out and you're like, fuck, I feel helpless right now. I can't see anything.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But man, let me tell you, overall, and I know Endeavor One loves my hot takes. Overall, despite my only complaint with this is the button mapping. I don't know why. I hope they update that. But it's still very much playable. It's not game breaking by any means. Mm-hmm. It's just super annoying. That being said, this game to me personally, Brian, and you might not like me saying this, or some people might not like me saying this, I think this game, especially for like $8, $9, absolutely kicks the shit out of Layers of Fear. Like, I feel like this game is so much better than Layers of Fear. This is like what Layers of Fear wanted to be, and it looks better than Layers of Fear. It plays better, like... I don't know, man. I don't know about you, but I think that this game, especially for the price, is way better.
Yeah, no objection here.
Cool.
Yeah, it gives you a lot more to do, and it's just way better crafted for sure.
More modes. More modes and everything.
And dude, again, we've said this every single time we talked about this game. That I go to the local haunted house here, the Factory of Terror. And it's like $25 to get in, and then if you bring, if you're with a friend, now it's $50, and then with a group of people, it's fucking crazy expensive. And for $10, you can stay at home and be way more scared. Like those haunted houses are just garbage now. Like the actors are terrible. They don't care about making it fun, and it's like the same recycled trash year after year. And dude, it's like you spend less than $10 and you can send all of your friends through it. You're all hanging out, having a good time. It's super scary. You can do things in VR or in video games, period, that you just can't do in a real haunted house. So
if people get scared easy, you got to throw them into this. It is super cool. Yeah. It is really well done. There's lots of jump scares.
Trying to say you're scared easy? I do. Okay.
I wanted to watch your stream of this so bad, but I just didn't want any spoilers. So
I get scared easy.
I don't know how it went, but I hope it went well.
Spoilers. I was terrified. Guys, we got a few tips to take care of. We got Miles Dyer with the 5 quid says, chat, if you enjoyed the Halloween jokes, please tip PSVR without parole right now via super chat. Let's fill the screen with tips now. Go. It doesn't seem like people enjoy the Halloween jokes, Miles. We got Song in the Flame Cat with the 20 Sekiro saying, don't tell me what to do, Miles. You tell him, Song in the Flame Cat. We got Buju, the Underground Game Cat with the $5 tip says, Ghost Train, choo choo. Lots of ghosts. And Rody the Game Cat
Cute
with the
little
$10 tip saying, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Miles.
Miles who?
Miles to go before we're done with these awful bloody jokes. Okay.
Oh god, the chat. It's been hard not to pay attention to the chat. Chat is so fucking funny today.
Dude, the chat was way more interesting than the show today.
It was really. I wasn't even listening to you. I was just reading them.
No, that's fucking par for the course, though. Let's be fair. All right, man. Speaking now, you're gonna have to listen to me because it's time for everybody's favorite game show that we totally stole from GameScoop. It's PSVR 20 questions. When we put 6 minutes up on the clock. And today I have that 6 minutes and 20 yes or no questions to ask AJ to figure out what PSVR game he's thinking of. Kat, you got to help me here. I can't do this without your help. Emily Baxter, hashtag the Game Cam with the $2 tip says, is it a cartoony POS? 20 questions. We're not asking that. Well, maybe we will. I don't know. We'll see. Hold on. Let me bring up the timer and then we'll get the show on the road here. What do you think? AJ, do you have a game picked out?
I do have a game picked out.
Good
luck.
Is it going to be hard to figure out?
You get no hints from me.
Well, I mean, that could have been my first question. It's not my first question. I'm just kidding. Okay. Here we go. Boom. Let's see those questions, chat. Is it a horror game?
It is not a horror game.
Yo, I don't know if you know, but the cats are going to fucking revolt.
Who was it? Was it Brax, bro? Who was it that last on Wednesday said if it's not a horror game?
I thought it was Who Dat Gamecat, but anyway.
Maybe it was Boo Flat.
Okay, not a horror. Oh, man. Well, there goes a wasted question. Does it have aim support?
It does not have aim support.
No aim.
All you are is history. Maybe that's it. He says, it better be a fucking horror game. Twitcher.
Okay, is it a cartoony game? We're going to go with Emily's question.
I will say it is. I think it slightly looks cartoony, yes. Like, I don't think it's, like, super cartoony, but it's, like, slightly.
Okay. Has this developer made other PSVR games?
They have made other PSVR games.
Yes. Other PSVR games. Okay. So it's kind of a cartoony game. A little bit, maybe.
A little bit.
The developer has made other PSVR games. It's not horror. There's no aim support. Is it first person?
It is first person.
Okay. That takes care of Marvels.
I told you that's going to be the last game I choose. I'm going to get you with that Marvels when you least expect it, Twitcher. I'm going to wait for you to stop saying Marvels for like 2 months, and then I'm going to make it Marvels.
Do you do a lot of shooting in this game?
You do not do a lot of shooting in this game, no.
Okay. Scott Jesco, PSN Harry Fella, PSVR Gamecat 4Life with a 4.5 quid says, Talking Houses, I just left the Baker house for the first time. Oh my god, that fight with Jack. Oh my god. Was just running around scared. I chainsawed him to bits.
Making
awesome.
me proud, Scott.
Good
Making
job,
me proud.
Scott Jesco.
Everyone should be playing RE7.
Is it based on a popular IP?
It is not based on a popular IP. You're on question number 8 now.
Wow. Are there any... Are you inside of any vehicles in this game?
You are not inside of any vehicles in this game.
Does it have multiplayer?
Does not have multiplayer. That's question number 10.
Big trouble here, guys. It's cartoony. The developers made other PSVR games. It is in first person, but there's not a lot of shooting. You're not inside of vehicles. No aim support. It's not a horror game. This is interesting. Would you consider this an experience more than a game?
No, it's a game.
Okay. Is there sword fighting in this game?
There is not sword fighting in this game.
Okay. We're figuring out what this game is not, but we have not figured out what this game is. Does it require the move controllers?
Yes, it requires the move controllers.
Okay, so moves only, guys. Moves only, no sword fighting, not a lot of shooting, kind of cartoony. Rick and Morty was definitely an experience. I expect you to die 1 or 2. Would this be a puzzle game?
I wouldn't call it a puzzle game.
Okay.
No. It might have a couple puzzles in it that I can't remember, but I wouldn't call it a puzzle game, no.
Okay. Is this game funny?
No.
How many questions we have left?
You are on question number 15.
Ay, Dios mío. We're in big trouble. No, Just in Time is definitely a puzzle game. Groundhog Day is definitely a puzzle game. Could any of this be considered sports? And by sports, I mean actual sports, racing, fishing, all that stuff's included.
No.
Okay.
It is not a sports game, although there is a little bit of a sports moment in the game, but I would say no, it's not a sports game at all, though.
There's a sports moment in the game.
Yeah. Sporty moment, but not really.
Okay. Is this made by Outer Loop Games?
This is made by Outer Loop
Is
Games.
it Falcon Age?
It is Falcon Age.
Yes!
Get out of my head, Charles. Good job, man. How the hell did you guess that? You weren't even close.
I know, but it really helped.
Did that really give away that much?
Yeah, the sports one definitely helped out because there's a small area that really stumped me. Multiple playthroughs where you play golf in that game.
Holy shit! Yes, and that was it. I didn't think that was gonna be that big of a hint. Holy shit! You deserve that one, man. Good
Thanks.
job.
Yeah, and the question, I know you say this question doesn't help you very much, but it always helps me. If the developer made other VR games, because
I figured that was going to be the one.
There's like 10 developers at that point where it's just like ding, 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 you just cross them off the list. So yeah, I think that really helped out. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for another episode of PSVR Gamescast Live. Remember, guys, please go over to AJ's channel at PSVR Underground. So give him a sub and a bunch of likes and a bunch of licks while you're at it, man, because that's just how we roll around here. Very lickable.
We'll accept licks.
Yeah. You don't have to like, but you have to lick. That's just how we roll. Guys, we also want to thank Sci-Fi Gamecat Henry for adding timestamps, and Miles Dyer and Jamie Out, and everyone who helps out the channel, but especially the moderators who not only take care of everything that happens over here, make sure everything runs smoothly, but everything that happens over on Discord. So make sure you join our Discord. That's where all sorts of crazy things happen. Professor Loth's running multiplayer meetups. We're doing so many giveaways, I can't even keep track of them all. And they're just going to keep on coming, and that's where the giveaways are going to happen over on Discord. Great conversations, hanging out in voice chat's a great time. It's just that's it, man. That's the stuff right there. And of course, if watching us for an hour 3 times a week is too much, then consider going over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or other streaming services and subscribe to us over there. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you everybody who donated during the show. Thanks to everyone who donates on Patreon. Thanks to all the people who changed their name to #GameCat, something along the lines. And of course, thank you to everybody who sat back and watched the show and didn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there and we love you just as much. And we hope you have a fantastic Halloween. But of course, that's not the end. You will definitely see more of me and AJ this weekend to celebrate the festivities together.
Oh, yeah.
AJ, can I cue the cat?
Cue the cat, right? Because I want to say Happy Halloween to Ash VR, the groovy game cat. I just watched Evil Dead 2, and God, do I love that movie. I need to watch Army of Darkness next. LC2552 beats the musical game cat. Yeah. Oh, he says Pumpkin Cat. Controller, Roy Swartz. Actually, that was Ash. Later to you, Roy Swartz. Good to see you, man. Making dinner, Salisbury steak and gravy. You making us some, Roy? You got me some, Roy. Give me passing over here. Johnny Soul Poltergeist, a.k.a. the Flat Ghost Cat. Emily Baxter, #the Game Kit. Thank you so much. Twitch of the single player game cat. Says, thank you, Miles, for all the jokes. Oh, my God. He was doing he did Halloween jokes the entire time. They were definitely terrible. Big shout out to Miles for that, for the awful jokes that you're making. And Deborah One, thank you so much. Deathly, the subterranean death cat. He says, I swear I heard Apple Pie Cast again. He's just got pie on the mind. I hear that, Deathly. Ace Mill, the game cat of the corn. Happy Halloween to you, my friend. Snarf that candy corn, cats. Snarf. Guys, send fist bump to you. The Fenner PSVR later home. We get to see you, man. Alberto, Mapom, the Game Gato, saludos, happy Halloween to you too. All you are is History of the Ghost Shrimp. Yes, I know, I'm saving all the horror games for, I don't know, Christmas. X-Spacer X, later to you as well. Nihilist Ryan, the Game Feline, says, who's the best comedian of all time? Miles Pryor.
Oh,
God, that is so terrible.
He's so bad.
Brax Bro. And Brax Bro always says this, and I love him for it. And he says, and as always, in case I don't see you later, good morning, good afternoon, and good night. To Jazzy J, the Terror Mage Cat. Good night to you as well. Oak V3D says, spook.
It sounded like you were
Kyber,
done.
shout out to your cousin Mac. Oh, we're just getting started, baby. Mark Pringles leave. David the Game Cat runs with the speed run. Dude, B Tribble is in the house tonight.
Doing God's work out there, sending us all the trailers for PSVR theater. Generic. Oh, man. Guys, you guys have a wonderful, safe Halloween. You're going to see me tomorrow night, and you will see both of us on Sunday to celebrate. And, wear your costumes while you watch us and get lots of booze or whatever you do. Happy Friday, everybody.